All right, everyone. It's been a few days. I've been able to thought process all this and give my basic thoughts on all AEW's All Out event. Now let's get to my deeper thoughts on the event. So heading into All Out, they had the Road to All Out shows. They had all this build up, and everyone was excited because this was kind of the sequel to All In. Because well, it's in Chicago, it's in the same venue, and there was a lot of hype building up to it. Like CM Punk rumored to be coming back, even though he's disputed that. And while you could make the argument, oh well, he's not really going to give away the big surprise, which is a logical argument, but he ultimately did not turn up to the show, and what can we do? My only disappointment regarding CM Punk not relating to CM Punk and AEW was why wasn't MJF not doing what was a big opportunity there missed, where he could have played CM Punk's theme song, Cult of Personality, come on out and troll the fans. Like, come on. That would have been excellent heat for him. He would have been the most hated guy in the company after that, more so. Like, that was the one disappointing aspect I had regarding CM Punk stuff related to AEW. Like, it would have been cool if Punk showed up and we got this big final tour run where he contends and then ultimately wins the AEW World Championship heading into next year, and then drops it to Kenny Omega at an AEW event that's WrestleMania equivalent levels of hype. Like, that would have been a perfect send-off. He gets to main event. I mean, like, it's not WrestleMania, but he gets to main event a WrestleMania equivalent. He gets to make a huge amount of money out of it. Like, and he gets to end his career on his terms. It would have been perfect, at least in my mind. But ultimately, Punk decided he doesn't want that anymore. He's at peace now. It is disappointing that doesn't get to end his career on his terms, but what can you do? Along with that, we also get the Casino Battle Royale that is now getting more criticism because of how it's systematically made. Like, they probably could have just done it the way that it was always done back at All In, where they did the whole Battle Royale and they just did creative stuff with it. Like, they could have done that, but I get they're trying to innovate with the Battle Royale concept, but it's not Royal Rumble concept. I get that. I really do. And they wanted to make this an all-women's one so they can have an actual stake involved where someone will eventually compete with Rhio and, I'll get to her in a moment, and this other woman for a chance to fight for the AEW Women's World Championship, as they're calling it. At least they're treating it equally as the men to give this level of importance. In fact, I have reasons to believe either it's going to main event AEW in DC or it's going to be the second to last event in DC. Since the world champion is going to be there and he is part of the show and he's going to have a big role in it, especially a match, but we'll get to that guy in a moment. So we get this match, the Casino Battle Royale. It goes as what you would expect. There was a couple of surprises. Like, we got, like, ODP. We got Piper's daughter involved in this. Oh, by the way, that was a major botch on the show because she never was eliminated, but they never brought that up. So maybe they can fix it with a retcon. Like, this would probably be the one time I could agree with a retcon if they just go ahead and have Teal Piper, I believe her name was, would come out, but and challenge whoever wins the match. Ultimately, challenges her because she was never truly eliminated. Or they could make an advocacy for a triple threat match. But yeah. Also, surprisingly, Brandy Rhodes isn't in the match, but isn't the last person out. I honestly thought that was coming because it's like everyone was afraid that she was going to have a chance at winning the women's title. But she ultimately gets eliminated by Ali and Dr. Britt Baker, I believe. And we also get Impact Wrestling Classics ODB. And then we also get a guest from Tennille Dashwood. We also get a return from an Attitude Era, Jazz. Let's see. We also get the 75-minute Iron Woman, aka Mercedes Martinez, Which means we just need to get her signed to a contract and then get Tessa Blanchard and we can have a sequel. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. Um, but ultimately, she would not get the victory because it was confirmed that a lot of these women are not signed with AEW, so it's like they need to fill it up a little bit until they could get more of a division going. So at least they're trying to and trying to give opportunities and also give some more exposure. Like Janelle Dashwood is signed to Impact Wrestling and they worked out a deal. Hey, can we get her involved in the show? Because originally they wanted to have Brian Cage show up and he was the world champion at the time of Impact. I think he still is. And originally he was supposed to show up at the Battle Royale in Double or Nothing, but Impact Wrestling blocked that because they said he's our world champion. We can't have him lose that kind of match. So yeah, and there was apparently an incident backstage after this match. Apparently, two of the women's in the match, I can't remember their names, got into this altercation and they tried to dispute. They tried to try to go ahead and stop the situation from escalating. But I don't know what's going to happen in the fallout from that. So we'll have to see. They could probably try a storyline with it, try to work out their issues. All I know is that apparently it involves Will Ospreay or he has some relation with them, but I don't know. But ultimately, Nyla Rose would get the victory. And this is when people got pissed. Not everyone, not just the moronic people of the world, because they keep bringing up how, oh, she's a man. She's transgender. She's a transgender female. And, like, they say, that doesn't count. That was unfair. Therefore, it doesn't count. And I'm thinking, does I don't care. She's transgender. She identifies herself as a woman. Why is this such a problem? Like like the transphobia got out of control on Twitter because they were complaining about how Nyla isn't a woman. She's a man and yada yada yada. And I'm just like, look. Here's the thing. What does Nyla need to do to prove that it doesn't matter about how she identifies? What does Nyla have to do? Does she have to piss everyone off and win the women's title? I'm like, I'll be all for that if it means just to spite the idiocy of the transphobic community. But yeah, I was annoyed with this. Like a lot of people were speculating that is that why she's gonna get a chance at the women's title and could possibly win it. No, in fact, I didn't even know she was transgendered until literally when I looked her up, when I did research. They never brought that up. They treated her as she wants to be seen as. She's a woman, and, like, they didn't make a huge explosive statement about it. Like, say, we're diverse, we're diverse. If that was the case, then that would be a problem and an annoyance because WWE does that on every occasion when it comes to say, hey, oh, we have a woman in the main event, we have a woman in the main event. And I was thinking, can you just treat them as, like, why do you glorify something that should just be seen as, a woman's main eventing the show, okay. But anyways, Nyla Rose ultimately gets the victory, and she is the first one in and the last one standing. So that was fun. I gave it a let's see. I actually had a rating done on my Twitter account. Like I said, like the Battle Royale system isn't working. They probably need to change it up or try to go back to what the over the budget Battle Royal did and just try and be creative about it with how their presentation goes. I gave it a 2 out of 2.5 star rating. It was like, that's all it was to me. But now we get to a match that was the buy-in's main event. Private Party versus Angelico and Evans. And I'm pretty sure I pronounced his first name wrong, so yeah, sorry about that. So, Private Party has been making waves with fans ever since their big moment last pay per view, which was awesome. And this match was just your scientifically standard tag team match. In fact, I'm now wanting to see Private Party go against the Young Bucks eventually. Oh, the joys of wanting to see great matches happen, and they're probably going to happen. Um, so yeah, so Private Party and Angelico and Jack Evans were basically the highlight of the buy-in event of AEW's All Out, but and Private Party gets the win. Like that was to be coming. Like we knew that like they're gonna get some heavy momentum heading into their tag team tournament opportunity, and honestly, as much as I love the Young Bucks, I kind of want Private Party to win the tournament and ultimately win the title. It would be pretty much an awesome moment. Like everyone could predict, oh, it's just gonna be the Young Bucks winning the tournament. This is all pointless. But I would love to see a Private Party got the tournament victory and ultimately won the title. It'd be pretty awesome for me. Like they've been like these guys went from being unknowns from like a few weeks ago, and then went to be like they are freaking awesome. Like their tag team division is the strongest in AEW. Like the women's division is the weakest, probably because they don't have that much women involved in it. Like they have a lot of good talent in it, but not enough. But like probably some that are not familiar with fans and they're trying to assess their abilities with it. And then you got transphobic people attacking Nyla Rose because reasons. But yeah, I kind of do feel like they probably need to find a way to get more well known women and more talented ones involved in the ring. Like, there's a lot of people they can probably get. Like, Tessa Blanchard's contract said to be coming up next year, and Tully Blanchard's in AEW, so just bring her in, and then get Mercedes Martinez involved, and then we could do a sequel to the 75-minute Iron Woman match because that would be freaking awesome. And I'm pretty sure you can have that for the women's championship, and then like put it on the poster, it will sell. And yeah, so yeah, afterwards, Jack Evans goes ahead and attacks Private Party, solidifying their heel turn. Like, this leads to a question I'll have later, but I'll get to that. Like, but yeah, MJF is being interviewed backstage, and basically he didn't want a match on the card. Yeah, I don't believe that. Probably because they didn't have anything for him at the time. Like, they could have done Shawn Spears and MJF, and then saved Cody versus Shawn Spears for another event, or hell, even on the first episode, but they already have a match for Cody there. But that's beside the point. And MJF just goes in and starts mocking the interviewer. Yeah, I kind of expected. We did get a video package prior to this where we see this man taking out four thugs in a parking lot as a woman looks on. And this man is identified as Wardlow, I think. But yeah, one of the members of our podcast actually brought us saying he's a name you should be watching out for. So I'll have to check him out. Hopefully he shows up at AEW on TNT on the first episode. I would love to see how he goes on that. But yeah, that was it for the buy-in, and now we get to the actual event. We get SoCal Uncensored versus Jurassic Express, as they're now calling it, featuring Luchasaurus, awesome guy, Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy, and well, what were you expecting with this match? This was this fun opening 6-man tag team match that really got the crowd hot and ready for the rest of the show because although Jungle Boy is seen as the next big thing in wrestling to some people, Luchasaurus really kind of shows, that's just going to be a pretty awesome and sad moment when he eventually turns on Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy because that's inevitable. But yeah, Luchasaurus, Like, you're taking a gimmick where he calling himself Luchasaurus, and you're like, there's no way that's gonna work. The wrestler's gonna suck. And yeah, he goes ahead and is doing all this insane stuff, like high flying maneuvers. And now I'm thinking, okay, how many more big men are gonna keep doing high flying cruiserweight stunts? Like, it's insane. Like, when I learned about Undertaker and No Mercy 2002 did a suicide dive on Brock Lesnar, I was like, oh, wait. The Undertaker did a suicide dive? That's pretty freaking awesome. But now you got guys like Luke Harper, who should be free by now. Free Harper! Free Harper! But anyways, you got Killian Dane. You got the, I can't remember which one, Rho, I think. Doing all this insane cruiserweight style flying. And I'm just left wondering, like, oh, God. Can we please get these guys fighting? And then we got Luchasaurus joining in saying, I can one-up that. But yeah, see all these heavyweight wrestlers doing cruiserweight maneuvers. It's just insane. And and here's the thing. They gave a backstory as to why Marco Stunt's now hanging out with Jurassic Express, hanging out with Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. And I was like, wait. They gave a backstory with logical consistency? It's a tear to my eye. You see, the commentators went over this rather quickly. They explained that Marco Stunt was being bullied backstage after Fight for the Fallen, I believe, and they brought up how Luchasaurus went ahead, came to his defense, and took him on basically as another apprentice. And I was like, why is they making this so easy to? Why are they doing so well with this? Yeah, like, when I heard this, I was like, this makes sense. Just give a quick backstory to explain this, or, you know, like, give chemistry for these guys, and help establish a story for us to identify and connect with, and, like, it works. So yeah, SoCal Uncensored and Jurassic Express, someone jokes how they should have been called the Jurassic Experience. And I responded with, too late, Vince trademarked that so the AEW couldn't use it. You know, like how they trademarked Too Sweet because that somehow is a legal precedent for hand gestures. Well, looks like I'm going to be sued now. Because how dare I go ahead and do the Too Sweet gesture on an AEW video and not WWE. But, yeah. So, this was a fun opening six-man tag team match, and it looks like SoCal Uncensored is just having fun. Like, I don't know if they think they're gonna be like amounting to like the main event scene or anything. I don't know about that. Like, but it looks like they're just here to have fun and put talent over and showcase them to a high standard. But they know they have to win some matches in order to be taken seriously. But yeah, they just look to be having fun at this point in their careers, and I'm all for it. Like, they still perform at this high level, and they're clearly having fun with it. And I loved how they didn't have it end with SoCal Uncensored going ahead and baiting the crap out of everybody after they won. And ultimately, they just all celebrated, like, yeah, this is an awesome moment. So, yeah, it was pretty fun. SoCal Uncensored gets the victory. Pity Marco Stunt. Perfect person to take the fall. But let's see how this all goes. In fact, I was impressed with Marco Stunt. I thought he was just going to be this comedian guy and do a couple flying maneuvers, but he actually got in the ring and tangled with them for a bit and even gave them a run for their money. And I was like, oh my god, they're actually taking a gamble and they're winning. And now we get to a match that is teetered with controversy. Okay, not really controversy, but more like, oh my god, what the hell happened? Because this match was originally supposed to be Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega. And this match was supposed to had a huge build up, and then Moxley got another staph infection in his elbow. So, Rollins, do you still like to make insults to your former brother in arms, or are you still good, or are you just not? Are you going to continue being a piece of shit over this? Like, seriously, like, I don't know what's going on between Ambrose, Moxley, and Rollins. Whatever going on in their personal life, like I just hope they get. I just hope they bury the hatchet or something because I can't tell if they're being serious with WWE and AEW stuff or Rollins really is acting like a jackass. But anyways, so this was literally a week before the show, and this was just after his run in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he was doing some other promotion of events. He was on this huge momentum with a wave of momentum, doing all this stuff. Then he gets a staph infection in his elbow and has to take off and call out of this. Like I have to call out. And they ultimately said, we'll get well soon, we'll be there to support you, and had Kenny Omega cut this savage promo on Moxley to build up to their eventual fight. So that's going to be exciting. And then everyone was wondering, like, what are we going to do with this match? How are we going to fill this void? What in the Being the Elite episodes, one of them was proposing, hey, how about we just insert Kenny Omega into the main event for the world title? The Young Bucks respond with...
No, that wouldn't make any sense. That's a WWE move.
That's a WWE move. Yeah, that kind of is a WWE move, but like I get people are annoyed with the shots, but like it could be a lot worse. They could do the ratings attack thing. They could do the army invasion thing. They could humiliate wrestlers who worked for WWE and now work for AEW thing, like how WWE shamed a WCW wrestler for being a WCW wrestler, like the Booker T stuff. Until, like, literally they were like, oh, wait, he's actually being professional about all of our humiliation process. Especially that whole racist promo we had Triple H cut on him. But yeah, so they had to make a very dark, very dangerous phone call. They had to call one man that they can do this. One man who can fill the void of Jon Moxley. They had to call in... the Bastard. Yep, Pac was announced as Jon Moxley's replacement to fight Kenny Omega. And I was like... because... I have been wanting to see that match for a long time now. Like, I have been wanting to see that match. I was hoping for it when they were in New Japan and when Pac left. I was hoping for it when they got to AEW. I was hoping for all this. We're finally getting it. I sadly wished it was under better circumstances. But yeah, like... And the fact they had this match very early on in the show, like everyone would have suspected it would have been the third to last event. Like the second match would have been the tag team match for the title, for the AAA titles, and the main event being the world title. I thought this would be the third last match of the night. But no, they wanted to say, well, we gotta go ahead and do this matchup because this is going to be a pretty freaking awesome one, even though it has no build up. So yeah, and they kind of do have one thing going for them regarding Kenny Omega. He's been losing every singles match he's had, except for one in a Fight for the Fallen. Like, he's been kind of in this slump mode in terms of his run so far in AEW. I think this is where they're going with this. They're gonna build Kenny Omega up. They're going to have him go through this slump period, and they're probably going to reference Hiroshi Tanahashi beating him as the reason. And then they're going to build him up, start racking up wins more, and then ultimately get a victor, and then ultimately fight for the AEW World Championship at the WrestleMania equivalent event to ultimately complete this journey of self-redemption and self-reflection. That's at least my theory of where this is going. I could be heavily wrong about it. But yeah, I am kind of enjoying this more vulnerable side to Kenny Omega. But when they got to Pac and Omega, I was like, okay, so how's it? So a lot of people were like, wait, I thought Pac wasn't working with AEW. Well, here's the thing. He was still on the roster page. He was still technically signed to AEW, but they couldn't use him like everyone was going to hope he was being used, because at the time he was Dragon Gate champion, and Dragon Gate was like, we can't have him lose. You can't have him lose. He's the champion. He's our champion. We can't have him lose. And Pac was in agreement on that because he felt like the champion needs to be portrayed as unstoppable, at least until they eventually have to drop it. So this is like an old booking philosophy that actually was like, hey, remember how WWE likes to always have their champions lose every TV show to justify a match between the challenger for a pay-per-view? Yeah, let's do that, except not really. Like, let's actually make the challenger be an underdog and have the champion be this unstoppable force. So, yeah, that left them in a conundrum, so they had to have come to an idea like, okay, we can't do the match at AEW Double or Nothing, so here's an idea. We'll have them have a disqualification to keep both people strong. We need to keep Hangman strong, but we'll respect your decision regarding Pac and his championship run. So we'll have this impromptu match at another promotions event, and ultimately get this victory, get this disqualification happening to go ahead and keep both people strong and build up a story for them when Pac eventually drops it and comes back to AEW. So yeah, that was they at least fixed the situation. They rectified the situation with this decision. But yeah, Pac eventually did drop the title around July, so he was clearly gonna head to AEW afterwards, probably. And then a report came out just after this announcement was made that Pac was always scheduled to come to All Out, except he had something to do with the main event, and he was probably going to continue his feud with Hangman Page. But we'll get to the main event when we can. But Pac and Omega came in and were like, okay, we don't have a build-up, we got nothing here, so we're going to have to tear the house down and try even harder with this. And they tore the freaking house down. This was the best match of the night for me. Like, I loved every moment of it. It was a tactical wrestling event. Like Pac being this guy who keeps getting back up. Like, he kept getting back up, and I loved how it all ended. In my opinion, like, it wasn't gonna, like. Here's the thing. People have been debating about why Kenny Omega isn't really being the best bout machine like always, how he's been more of a clown, even though he was pretty much doing that a lot during his time in New Japan. I actually had a theory about that. Let me read it out to you. Let me just get to the post. But I did have a theory about why Kenny Omega seemed to be a lot different than when he was in New Japan. And I have a theory about that. Like, this is what I wrote on Twitter. In New Japan Pro Wrestling, pure wrestling is the name of the game, and being called the best bout machine likely required him to continuously work every match of 5-star-like quality. When he won the New Japan Pro Wrestling title, it was said he was working hard. That may have also been a factor for him not joining the WWE, because he would have worked 300 days a year while having to live to that moniker. AEW system not only allows lesser dates, but allows Kenny Omega not to be the best bout machine 24/7 like he was in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So that's my theory of why he also took an offer to go to AEW, other than his friends and out of the fact that WWE wasn't going to offer him creative freedom with his character. But I think it also had to do with the fact that he was working hard in New Japan, and the schedule WWE was going to ask him to do 300 days a year, with this idea that you have to live by that gimmick in the ring, and it's like one man can't keep doing that every single week. Like, it'd be awesome if they could, but doing the idea of being the best show every single week, day in, day out, house shows, pay-per-views, and you have to do all these crazy falls and bumps, like, you don't think that's gonna eventually come back to bite you? Yeah, so that's why I feel like they're gonna do this angle where Kenny Omega is in this slump period, and then his Best Bout Machine persona would start to reemerge a bit more, where he starts to become more and more confident with himself again, and starts tearing the house down. And this match was freaking awesome. Pac was amazing, but then I saw how the match ended was what was pretty awesome. Kenny Omega after making several V triggers, because V triggers is like the new super kick in Kenny Omega's world. Um, Pac is almost sent to the One Winged Angel finisher. However, Pac then counters with a brutalizer submission, and Kenny Omega is out cold. He passes out. Pac gets the victory in his first AEW match. Kenny Omega gets another defeat in his record, and I'm just left wondering. I love where they're going with this, and I love that Pac managed to make Kenny Omega go out cold. It was pretty awesome, and Pac loved every moment of it, I bet. So, yeah, it was pretty fun to see that. Pac and Kenny Omega, in my opinion, was the best match of the night. Like, I'm not disputing all the other high quality performances that happened in the middle of the show, but to me, it was, in terms of pure wrestling desire, it was the best match of the night, in my opinion. And I can't wait to see where they go with this next. Like, I know this is going to probably lead to Pac and versus Hangman Page again, but later down the road in order to finish that storyline. But yeah, I'm loving every moment of Pac's run in AEW so far. Now I get to what is called the Cracker Barrel Clash between Darby Allin, Joey Janela, and Jimmy Havoc. And I am left wondering okay, so which one's going to be horribly mutilated at the end of this? Because it's kind of hard to tell which one's going to be horribly mutilated. Like, it is hard to tell, because you got Darby Allin, who's going to keep throwing himself going into a coffin drop where he goes in and smashes himself into the ring apron. Then you got Joey Janela being Joey Janela. Then you got Jimmy Havoc, who has a knack for staple guns. And then just right when the match starts, Joey Janela just decides that Jimmy Havoc is like stabbing himself with staple guns. And I was like, yeah, I saw that coming. Well, actually, I didn't. I actually was thinking this. Wow, 1 minute, less than a minute in, and we're already having mutilation happening. And then, like, this match was just pure carnage and insanity. And then, like, in order to further convince that these three, along with Jon Moxley, are fucking insane, they go ahead and have Jimmy Havoc be strapped to a chair and like be horribly tortured by Darby Allin and Joey Janela. Like, they go ahead and have him like shove thumbtacks down his throat and then tape it up, and like I was like, that better not be real thumbtacks. If it was, he's already dead before he started his AEW run. Because what this was basically saying is, hey, I have a death sentence. Can I get him $1 million on this? Because the guy literally had to swallow tax. And I was hoping, no, they're not really thumbtacks. But if they are, he's dead. Because that was just insane. Like, I was like, well, AEW just committed cruel and unusual punishment. That violates the Constitution every single way. But, what can you do? So, yeah, that happened. And then we get another moment where Darby Allin just goes in and says, I must do the drop of the fall of a lifetime. Where he decides to go ahead near the end of the match, decides with great conscience, put a Cracker Barrel behind his back, do his drop, and then crash lands into the steel steps. Oh, and Jerry Janela later would top this by doing a moonsault dive onto the matted floor. Yeah, these three are gonna kill themselves one day, aren't they? They're gonna end up like Mick Foley, have tons of nerve damage, and then also try to keep putting people over, even though they physically can't do the things that they want to do anymore. Like I said this, if Jon Moxley was in this match, we would be seeing blood everywhere. Blood would be all over the ring. And probably out of it, probably in the crowd, probably in the commentary table, probably in the, everywhere. So, yeah, that was pretty freaking insane to have seen these guys just kill each other for this. Havoc would ultimately get the victory. I was happy for that. Like, Havoc has been in need of a, run in AEW, and he hasn't won a victory so far, but now that he's won this, I'm glad. But yeah, I was just... These three are insane. They're just insane with what they want to do to each other. Like, I was just in awe of how they were just going all out with this. No pun intended. Okay, let me go back to... But yeah, when Darby Allin did that, I was like, he's dead. Like, all three of these guys should be dead by now. But yeah, it was a pretty entertaining match. It was probably the correct way to go about this, because the next match probably wouldn't have worked. So they had to, in terms of getting a reception, so they had to have this hardcore match basically be the crowd pleaser to get a reaction and refuel their hype. So good points on that. Good point on that. So we get another match with the tag team titles with the tag team tournament stakes on the line, where we get the Dark Order against the Best Friends, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. That's really the names of the Dark Order. Oh, and I do love how their minions actually beat the crap out of them, and they don't get beaten down. That actually helps with the whole they're a force to be reckoned with. But yeah, this match was pretty... Like, the crowd wasn't really into it. I get that. But, like, they were more hyped than, say, a match between Natalya and Lacey Evans on a Raw previously in June or July. So they were more hyped up on that. But yeah, ultimately, this would lead to the Dark Order getting their victory, and then we get the most lethal, deadliest performer in all of wrestling to make the shave when the Dark Order starts to take the Best Friends out. Orange Cassidy! Because Orange Cassidy is a very dangerous person. He's gone ahead and crippled people with his kicks. Like, AEW was insane to hire this guy, and the disrespect and foul-mouthed language he provided in his interview. That guy's a maniac! He makes MJF look like a marshmallow fella. Animal. And then the guy has the nerve to do a suicide dive with his hands in his pockets and trying to come up all swag and cool. We know who you are, Orange Cassidy. You're a monster. You're a monster. Yeah, that's probably the most fun aspect of Orange Cassidy. I could just go ahead and just portray him as this lethal wrestler that should be banned, even though he's really not doing that much in terms of in-the-ring stuff. Yeah, it's just funny. But yeah, Orange Cassidy makes the save, and the Best Friends kind of have this new guy hanging out with them now. And then when he was like, and I was surprised. Like, I was honestly expecting when he finally could put his hands out of his pockets, I was like, oh my god, he actually had his hands out of his pockets. Like, I was expecting a crowd of pop suddenly for that. So, yeah. Now we get Rhio versus Haruka Shida. I fail at Japanese names. It took me like weeks to get Kazuchika Okada's incorrect. But yeah, this was your by the numbers women's matchup. It was a pretty good match. Kenny Omega's been vouching for Rhio a lot, wrestling for such a young age. That says something. And then I have heard like, wait, Rhea's 98 pounds. I'm honestly shocked by that. So yeah, and then we get to have Rhio get the victory, and I kind of want her to be the first women's champion. Like, but I won't complain about neither Rose. I won't complain about that. Like, really could go either way for me. Now we get to. Okay, so you've known I've been legitimately having actual criticism with AEW, like the tag team 30-minute spectacle that they claim it was, going on for too long and not really bringing that high octane energy that you would have expected in Fight for the Fallen, or the chair shot to the head. Has anyone noticed that all this seems to relate to Cody Rhodes? Like, every legitimate criticism besides the Battle Royale relates to Cody Rhodes. Because Cody, being the thoughtful genius that he is, decides to... Okay, before I get to that, Shawn Spear comes out, and I love his entrance. His simplistic entrance is enough to tell his character without flashy, extravagant explosions. Like, he just has to bring the dented chair that he whaled Cody's head with, and just come out with this deliberate pace, and then you get Tully Blanchard involved, and it's like magic happening right there. But Cody's entrance was Star Trek-y, and that wasn't the problem. The problem is what happened later. This pissed off Tony Khan, and it even pissed off Brandy Rhodes after the show. Cody has pyro. Nothing wrong with having pyro in your entrance. That's perfectly okay. The problem was that, how do I put this delicately without pissing anyone off? The dog heard everything and was freaking out. And they had to keep forcing it to come with them. Okay, I am willing to give the benefit of the doubt Cody did not plan for that in hindsight, or realized that it probably was too much. But with the recent trend of dog abuse especially going on, with, YouTuber going ahead and spitting in their dog, because number two being that Instagram girl that went ahead and put her dog in the dryer and laughed about it like a psychopath. And then you got this other video where this person goes ahead and starts hitting their dog with a stick or a ruler or something, but the dog kept squealing in pain. And I'm just left wondering, what the fuck happened? Like, why is this a trend now? We already had enough with the Momo challenge, the Tide Pod challenge, the let's break into the stores and tamper with product presentation and vandalize it challenge. Now we're in the we must abuse our animals for viewership. Like, and I don't think this helps. That Cody just happens to inadvertently abuse his dog to having to hear pyro, and its ears are very sensitive, and it's like, the dog was pretty scared, and Brandy Rhodes was pissed at Cody, Tony Khan was pissed at Cody. Like, lately it seems Tony's kind of pissed with Cody for a lot of stuff, like the chair shot incident getting controversy, the whole dog that thing now. So it's like, Cody, you're pushing it. You're really pushing it. Like, I get he's trying to make this huge bet on himself, and he feels like he has to do this. Oh, by the way, in the triple threat match, I forgot to mention, they took a shot at Jim Cornette regarding how, who would use a tennis racket? Okay. But yeah, when Cody seems to be making these rather weird mistakes consistently, and it seems like I like all my criticism towards AEW seems to relate to Cody, and like, okay, well, at least let's just hope this match is pretty good. In my opinion, this match was pretty good. It was very story based. Like every time I was watching it, I was like, okay, there's something familiar about this match. I can't put my finger on it, but it's just very familiar, and it pisses me off. Not the match, but what I'm what I'm trying to remember it is. Like, everything about this match was very familiar to me the more it kept going on, and I was thinking, there's something about this match that's pissing me off. And it's not the match itself, it's just something familiar about it. So, I did that, and then Tully Blanchard gets involved, like, he gets to kick MJF's ass a lot. Eesh. And then we get the arrival of Arn Anderson, and he does the spine buster to Shawn Spears, and I'm just left like, 2019, and Arn Anderson is still doing the best spine buster yet in the business. Wow, that is really sad for a lot of the younger guys. But anyways, like, the fans pop for that. But yeah, then we got to this ending portion of the match where Cody is ready to grabs the steel chair and is prepared to strike down Shawn Spears with all his anger, to give in to his anger and darkness. And I was like, oh fuck. Oh god, I'm getting flashbacks. Oh god, I'm getting why Cena flashbacks from WrestleMania 30. Like, think about it. That's what this match literally was. This was basically a retelling of Cena versus Wyatt at WrestleMania 30. Like, the referee telling Cody not to do this with the chair, Shawn Spears trying to tempt him, Tully Blanchard, and all this little over-the-top randomness, except there's no MJF involved. It's really WrestleMania 30. And when I was watching it, I was like, oh god. So, well, let's hope things go correctly and Shawn Spears goes over. I'm hoping for that. Nope, they had Cody wins, and I was like, this was literally Cena versus Wyatt. The match that's so good with storytelling, has a good presentation, but they fuck up the ending. That's really the similar situation. Shawn Spears, in my opinion, should have won. I get from a narrative perspective that yes, Cena and Cody should win their match because Cena gets to defeat his inner darkness. Cody gets redemption. But like, from a long-term perspective, you could get Cody his victory, but Shawn Spears should have won. Cody could win the feud. Shawn Spears can win the match. Like, that's the problem that Cena and Wyatt had. Cena can win his feud, fine, but Wyatt should have won at WrestleMania 30. That is the inherent problem with this. So now we don't know what's going to go with Shawn Spears now because, like, yeah, he's on a bigger platform in terms of being pushed, but now it's like he just lost to Cody in what should have been his big breakout moment. And now we don't know where it's gonna go. So since I do love this one tidbit they do. They go ahead in their nameplate graphic. They have the written loss record, singles matches and overall matches. So I love that they do that. But yeah, that was the inherent problem with with this. Like, that was the major flaw in this match. Like, this could have been a classic. I was going to give it a 4.5 rating, but I just gave it a 4-star because that was seriously, that dropped it down a peg because I wanted Shawn Spears to win. It made sense to me from a long-term perspective. Like, you could have the feud go on and Cody could get his victory and redemption storyline over with and move on, but Shawn Spears looks strong because he gets a victory over Cody Rhodes. But no, they don't do that, and now people are freaking out that Cody's gonna be like Triple H was in the Reign of Terror days. And I could honestly see that, but I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Because, like, Cody and Dustin, that made sense. Cody winning against Dustin made sense. Cody and Darby Allin, well, Cody had a big match coming up at Fight for the Fallen, but they wanted to protect Darby Allin, so they did the draw. And then Cody lost at Fight for the Fallen, but now he gets a victory over Shawn Spears when it really should have went the other way around. But yeah, I don't know how to feel about this, about that idea, the decision. But what can you do? And then we get to the AAA Tag Team Championship in a ladder match, or in Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix's opinion, it's that name that I can't pronounce, so I'm not even gonna try. This was wild and insane, and I was convinced, but there's a moment that was pretty freaking scary in the match. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, I saw that coming. Because near the end of the match, I can't recall if it was Matt or Nick Jackson, but it was one of the Young Bucks. I'm trying to remember which one. Let me see. Matt, yeah. Yeah, yeah, Nick. So, Nick, in the match near the end, falls off the ladder, but then I noticed how the ladder was positioned where it exactly was. It was like, okay, one of two things are going to happen. Either A, he's going to crash through the ropes and probably injure himself, or B, he's going to crash through the ropes yet land on one table. I saw the latter happen, and I was like, yeah, that was going to happen because the ladders were both not tall enough or were close enough to the edge of the ring. If it was a little bit closer, like a couple of more inches or feet, it probably he would have landed on both tables instead of just the one. But yeah, that was human error in total sense. And then Matt Jackson gets this package power driver on the ladder, and I'm just left wondering, how are they still alive? But yeah, also in the match we got a shock value moment where we get Pentagon Jr.'s face exposed to the world. He covers his face, but they take off his mask because the Young Bucks are supposedly heels, I think. But yeah, yeah, that led to a question, like, who's the face and heels in all this stuff? Like, we know some heels, like the Dark Order, and we know Shawn Spears is a heel, but Cody is portrayed as a face who's buddies with a heel. Kenny Omega has been portrayed as a face, but acted like a jackass to Jon Moxley. I'm just left, who's the face in here? Like, it was said that they're trying to blur that line more. I get that, like, in NXT they did that a lot. Like, look at the Undisputed Era. They've done heelish acts, yet fans cheer for them. I get what they're trying to go for there, but I don't know how they're going to go about it correctly. But yeah, the Lucha Bros ultimately win the match, and then we get two masked men, oh boy, I wonder who these guys are, attacking both teams in the ring, and they then remove their masks, and is revealed to be Lax. Lax from TNA is now in AEW. So, yep. Lax is now officially part of AEW, and I'm pretty sure Vince is secretly pissed off about it because they were trying to sign Lax, and I'm glad they went to AEW because, let's be real, AEW has a big, strong tag team division, more so now with Lax. But in WWE, tag team wrestling's a joke to Vince. Like, they had Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, team up out of nowhere with no build-up, no chemistry established, and the only history they have is that they tried to kill each other back in 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, some people were complaining about that, like, why are you complaining about a random tag team pairing up? Like, that doesn't make sense. And I was like, okay, you're using Mick Foley and Stone Cold. Yes, they were a random tag team, but here's the thing. They got a build-up to it. They had chemistry establishing between them. They got a storyline build-up for them. But Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode was just a random pairing that has nothing to build off on. Like, even Undertaker and Steve Austin, when they were feuding, they had an established chemistry going. So that made sense. Like, that wasn't random tag team. Like, yeah, the pairing's weird, but they are building up something with them, and they're building a story around it, and they have chemistry. They build chemistry for weeks, and then ultimately do the role. What did Ziggler and Bobby Roode have? Besides the feud that was a few years old. But enough about WWE and their crappy way of handling tag team wrestling, because fuck tag team wrestling and fuck the revival. But, yeah. We get to our main event of the evening. Y2J, the Ayatollah Rock and Roller, the Painmaker, Chris Jericho, versus the Hangman, Adam Page, for the first ever AEW World Championship. And is it a sign that Kenny Omega's character is going through this lackluster role when Hangman does a better match with Jericho than goddamn Best Bout Machine here? Oh my god. I was amazed that, like it was weird seeing Chris Jericho getting this old age body build stuff going on with him because he's getting up there in age. But I'm amazed he can still go at such a high level as much as he can. Like, he can't do certain things like he could do, but I was impressed with him. Like, he deserves a thank you, damn it. And Hangman Page and him were killing it. Like, they were killing the match in that regard. They were doing well. Like, I was honestly expecting this match to be like the second worst match of the night, because Chris Jericho nowadays needs a no disqualification stipulation added in order to hide away the age and slowness of his style now. Like, he's transitioned from this high flyer maneuver to this brawler style with an occasional high flying move. But yeah, to see it still go, and then making the Judas elbow more over than it actually should be is kind of amazing. Like so far throughout his entire time using the Judas effect, he's bloody Kenny Omega's nose, more so. He's busted open Hangman's eye. So, yeah, so far the Judas effect is the most deadliest wrestling move going on in AEW right now. Except for pile drivers. Yeah. But yeah, yeah, they were actually doing pretty well. I was amazed by that, and ultimately Chris Jericho got the big victory. He becomes the first ever All Elite Champion of the world. The Ayatollah Rock and Roller, the Y2J, the savior of AEW, the Painmaker, Chris Jericho, your first ever AEW World Champion. Now, a lot of people were mad about this. Like, a lot of people got mad about it, but in fact, this is what someone posted saying this. So for all the shit WWE gets about having older guys go over younger talent, friendly reminder that the current AEW World Champion, and the first one, will be 49 in November. Now, I like Jericho, but keep that same energy. Now, I didn't have a problem with this, but then someone from WWE decided to make it a huge problem. Baron Corbin. Not a parody account, the legitimate Baron Corbin wrote this. All of these smarks have hated and complained about everything we do. Now they are forced to love everything these guys do, even when it's the exact same thing. It really shows how dumb they really are. So, yeah, I like to clarify that response was beyond fucking stupid. Like, all due respect to Corbin, but that was the worst take you could make with that, because... Okay. Let's go over this. This is what I wrote in response to both of these two, especially Corbin. WWE is an established company with 50 years of history, retconned or not, because Vince McMahon seems to be ashamed of a lot of stuff in WWE history. AEW just started this year and needs a mainstream guy to garner attention for their TNT debut. Hangman Page would have been a big gamble. Jericho was a long-term benefit plan for AEW TNT. How is this hard to understand? And it blew up. Like, this tweet really blew up. Like 45 retweets, 215 likes. That was the most amount of attention I got on Twitter since my comment about Steve Ditko's passing, when I said he probably loved it when he saw Doctor Strange on the big screen. But and I still get likes on there, so I'm amazed by that to this very day, and that was a year ago. So yeah, a lot of people were in debate of the comments. People were calling Baron Corbin a kiss ass and foolishness. And people were calling these WWE fanboys idiots. And then I got called a mark because I'm coming in defense mode. I was like, okay, let's go with a comparison. People were comparing Chris Jericho to Brock. I don't want to wrestle as much as everyone else because reasons. Lesnar. Okay, Chris Jericho has worked consistently, and he still works at a high level and tries to work as much as he can, even with Fozzy, all his other media commitments. He still performs at a high level. What like he has Fozzy. He like during All In, he wasn't at the show. He was at a concert doing a Fozzy concert. Finished the show, got on a plane, ran all the way to All In Chicago, and showed up just to do the Kenny Omega segment and promote the Jericho Cruise. And I was like, okay, that's pretty freaking awesome that Jericho managed to do all that in a short amount of time. But yeah, what was so hard to understand this? Brock Lesnar was champion for 500 days. How many matches did he have in those 500 days? Let's see. Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman. At best 10. And they were all spread out in months. And some were a lot of them were extremely short and looked like he didn't even care. In fact, didn't he throw the WWE Universal title at Vince and he was never punished for that? Yeah. You see, Jericho has been working. He was like, when he came back for his final WWE run before he went to AEW in New Japan, he was working every week. He was working. He was doing crazy bumps. He was taking balls. He was working on Raw. He was working on SmackDown. He was working on pay-per-view events. What was different about this? Because Jericho's at this age, and therefore it's hypocritical that AEW does it. Like, if Jericho was a lot like Lesnar, okay, fine, you have an argument going on. but at least he still works on a high level and wants to be at every freaking show as much as he can, and at least he has a reason that that if he can't show up is because all these other commitments are going on. What excuse does Lesnar have? Well, you see, Lesnar, he does it. No, he doesn't. He does TV. Oh wait, no, he doesn't. He goes hunting. And I'm thinking, congratulations, it's Lesnar going hunting. That was clearly worth a commitment to not show up for a Raw or SmackDown and just show up on pay-per-views every 6 months. I asked people who responded and called me a mark, who called me a fool for even thinking with some form of business sense. And Chris Jericho's going to be on the first taping of AEW's TNT show as the champion. He's going to later on in the few weeks after that first episode defend the title. It was already advertised. And he's clearly going to work at Full Gear. He signed a 3-year deal to wrestle. So he wants to keep wrestling, and it'll be 52 or 3 by the time he's done. He clearly is trying to help build up this company, whereas Lesnar can just do what he wants, and WWE can do whatever they want. People were like, well, WWE, they have every reason to put on Lesnar too. No, they don't. They really kind of don't. Because, like I said, WWE's been around for years and years and years. Most of their money nowadays comes from blood money events and Fox. And the stock market, but that's a completely different subject. They can do whatever they want. They could take all the risks in the world and put new guys over, put new guys on the poster. But no, they want to opt for personal agendas, political agendas. They want to favor these guys and screw everyone else. They have Vince McMahon running around going crazy in the head, thinking that he's better than Triple H because how dare he go ahead and create NXT being such a great platform. He called NXT the little engine that could. So you're going to promote... You don't want to promote NXT on on USA Network. You now just want to insult them and say they're just a small little thing. They're not important. For a brand that you want to destroy AEW with, you're going to tell people it's not important who probably don't even know what NXT is, besides the jokes thing that was the old NXT when Vince was running things. That is a sound strategy. It might just backfire big time. So yeah, there was really no argument to be made regarding this. If Jericho wasn't full-time or working on a consistent basis and not every 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 months as a champion, then you probably would have an argument. I kept asking people, could you give me your reason why you say this? I'm willing to have a healthy debate, but I never got a response from a lot of them. Some people were like, thank you! And some people actually were getting criticism for daring to point out the evidence here and why this had to be done. Would it have been cool if Hangman Page won? Yeah, but would it get the huge attention that Chris Jericho can give with the AEW Championship? No. For as popular and how well known Hangman Page is, he's not well known with the mainstream audience. They only know when you hear the words John Moxley, you don't know who that is because everyone knows Dean Ambrose, but if you see Dean Ambrose on TV, everyone knows who that is, but they don't know, wait, who's John Moxley? But then you have to explain to them, it's Dean Ambrose, he just has a different name. Oh, okay, I could tune into that. Or Chris Jericho, who has always kept his name since the 90s and late 80s, and people would be like, that's Chris Jericho. He's champion now? I gotta see what's this about. That was a clear business strategy. This was a long-term benefit plan for AEW. I'm not saying Chris Jericho is a long-term option. He's just a short-term option for a long-term answer. Because Chris Jericho and AEW are going to go on TNT, and the last time Jericho was on TNT, his last title run was 20 years ago on there. And that was when he was, the television champion, and he was mocking Goldberg every week. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Yeah, there's argument that Chris Jericho is in the same level as Brock Lesnar or Undertaker, and at least Undertaker has a reason. He has wear and tear all over his body, so he needs to rest up. But now WWE wants to exploit him for all he's worth. That's what's left of him, at least. But yeah, I was wanting to debate with this, not start a huge trolling war, but some people just didn't want to listen to that. Some people called me a mark, they called me a fanboy, they called me a hater of WWE, even though I do kind of hate WWE because they kind of do awful things, and especially insulting our intelligence, except for NXT. We care about NXT, I love NXT, but, that doesn't count. But, yeah, so I look at Chris Jericho. He's going to be committing to this. He's in for the long haul for as much as he has left in his career. And, yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad they went with this route. Like, Hangman Page would have been cool as champ, but they could build him up later down the road. And he still has a feud with Pac to happen soon, so that's going to be awesome. So, yeah, Pac is... So, yeah, Hangman Page will get his title run later down the road, but they needed Jericho to have legitimacy when they go on TV and have him on there wrestling, and then fans will tune in because, hey, it's Chris Jericho. I know who Chris Jericho is. He was in WWE. He was in WCW. He's Fozzy. He's all this multimedia stuff. He's been in movies. He's been in interviews. He's been on Dancing with the Stars. That's a guy we should tune in to see. So, yeah, to me, Jericho winning made the most sense. A lot of people agreed with me, and then I'm being called a mark for this. So yeah, All Out in my opinion was a success. Like I said, there were legitimate criticisms that I had, like the Shawn Spear Cody match, and what Cody did with the dog thing, and how that didn't work so well. So those were my thoughts on AEW All Out. And like I said, the other thing I had was that MJF missed opportunity to mock the Chicago fans with the CM Punk entrance. Oh man, that would have been spectacular. Tony Khan later would go on to reveal that they would have an all-out event every year for the next few years, for at least for a time, in Chicago every Labor weekend. So Labor Day weekend. So we're gonna have all out every time in Chicago. So I can't wait for that. Seriously do hope they announce an all or nothing event where it's WrestleMania level at the TF Bank Field Stadium. So yeah, let's do that eventually next year. So those were my thoughts on All Elite Wrestling's All Out event. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. For who like, comment, subscribe, and donate. Stay tuned for more. And stay tuned for more. And everyone, too sweet.